at Shepardson, but I've known many of you, and I see a lot of friends here today through many years in serving here at Shepardson, and I thank you for that. You know, in thinking about the 40 years of Shepardson Elementary, I would think about, and it was probably 54 years ago, and it's pretty close, that my mom asked my brother as who would he want to invite to Thanksgiving dinner. He invited Miss Shepardson. So I'll produce the picture that is the memory I have in my mind right now. But it was at the table with Miss Shepardson at that Thanksgiving dinner.
1989 and 2011. I don't even count years up anymore. It doesn't seem important. So, what was Shepardson about? Always about. Was one of the questions I had in my mind. And I've worked with so many of you and you for so many reasons. I think you will relate to these. I believe Shepardson was always about every child. Number one, regardless of the needs and the uniqueness of the child might have. And they wanted to make sure as a staff that every child felt like they belonged. That was critical. And that every child deserves the very best that we can do to help them reach higher goals. And Alyssa, you just repeated exactly what I just said, so that seems to be still going on as well. I believe that Shepardson was always about having staff who want to work together to make that vision happen here. At the same time, to value the uniqueness of the individual staff member so that we can meld those things together and make the right things happen that can be produced. Because in reality, not everyone fits in every situation. I believe that it's always been about valuing our diverse population. You know the bell curve, where the average is in the middle and the big side? I did some data work, and we had a bottom out where the bell should be, because the number of kids for many of those years were on the high end, on the outskirts, on the edges. The middle group, if you will, was actually fewer in the perspective of that, which made it a very challenging population to teach. Also a wonderful experience. I believe it's also about being open to change and being creative in how we can support each other and make the right things happen. And then to embrace the needs and the support of our parent community and beyond. We couldn't do it without the support of our parents, and they were critical in this whole thing. Those were the big things that I saw that happened everywhere. And the enrollment naturally changed. Where are you, Bill? When you saw this building being opened on those early days, it was working up its enrollment numbers. But the pieces that were interesting for me when I walked in, as I think the third principal, it was still a walk-in school. So that people just kids lived in the neighborhood. And the enrollment finally grew to over 600 students. Well, if you know this building, imagine this if you didn't experience it. Some of you experienced it. There were class sizes already over 30. There were 2 classrooms in the mobile, fully packed. There was a classroom in what was the 3-4 pod. We created a classroom in the middle of that pod. I don't know how we did that, but we did it. And we created a smaller classroom in a little work area back here because we needed more space. And we finally had to close the school for all new enrollments. So when the new families moved in across the street, I had to send them to another school on a bus. They were not happy campers on that particular day. But that was part of the development, and the enrollment eventually went down, as it always does, because especially in this neighborhood, parents liked the neighborhood and they stayed. And most of them did not have more children. Yeah. But we always enjoyed having them back. So some stories that I think kind of represent some significant impact on why we wanted to educate all children, because that's what's so important. In 1990, I think was when we fully became a fully inclusive school. And that was such a unique experience where that performed what we felt best about all children should feel a sense of belonging. That would be described as a school where no classrooms for children with special needs existed for that particular purpose. And the special education classrooms that might happen would be just outside the rooms for certain little things that might be happening. But for overall, they were basically in the regular classroom. And that happened because we began thinking about how can we include more kids kids and all of our kids, even those with special ed needs. And how do we creatively use our teaching resources to do that? Well, the staff was really excited about this prospect way back in the early years. They said, you know, that would, I remember teachers saying this, that would remove all that movement of teachers coming to pick up their kids, taking them to another room, taking them all back, bringing them back forward, and things were not happening in terms of instruction, but there was a lot of extra movement going on. And they thought, together, we can maybe make this happen differently. It would be more efficient and it would help all kids. We spent time with the parents about this, a lot of time with the parents to make that happen, and talk about what their concerns were. And as we did that, we found we got a lot of support. They even gave us 1 year of having an early release day so that we could figure out how to communicate and how to ensure that that program would work well. And they gave us feedback so we can continue to make adjustments. This is the clincher. At the end of that year, I'm a data person. I needed to know if it really worked. So I needed some data. How do you get data on that? Well, I surveyed the 6th graders. They're smart enough. They can answer a survey. And I thought, this is going to be interesting. Well, I will never forget this because the evidence came out strange. And one of the questions was something about kids that had special needs. And they all answered, we don't have any kids with special needs in 6th grade. Blew me away because we had kids that were in wheelchairs. They were blind kids. We had all kinds of disabilities going on. And when I had to investigate, why did you say that? They said, because we all have challenges. We all have differences. They're not any different than anybody else. So there are no special ed and different kids here, which was pretty powerful. It said it really worked. I'll never forget that. It also spoke to how students were helping each other, the classroom teachers were helping each other meet the diverse needs as a team. The acceptance of diversity among the students and staff here was absolutely phenomenal. And we had a visitor once, a professor from the Midwest. She says, I have researched everywhere, and you're the only school that I know in the United States that can do this. And it was because of the people that made it work and the support. Well, lots of little stories, too. The community was so supportive. Remember Pat Burns? Is he here by any chance? Pat Burns was a parent and a CSU administrator. Many of you know Pat. Well, he liked computers, and he found ways to help our kids learn how to program early in those early days. And now we're talking the early 90s. And the staff could learn how to use computers, which in those days did not exist and didn't make teachers feel particularly comfortable, but it helped. But it was from those community things, the community outreach, coming to Shepardson, that we became technology-driven right away, early in the 90s. And the hardest part for us was we would figure out ways with our PTOs to actually buy more computers, and as soon as we get everything bought, what would happen? The district would buy it for everybody else. So we didn't get the advantage of that, but we did like making that happen. The other thing that was pretty interesting is how creative the staff could be on how to deal with limited staffing. That's always was a challenge. And one year we were just really puzzled on how we're going to make this work. The 3rd, 4th grade team said, we've got an idea. What do you think? Remember these days? And they said, what if we take that staffing and instead of having 6 classrooms or 5.5 and not have enough support, what if we as a team say we promise that we will work all summer to make this work? We're going to do a multi-age 3-4 classroom in 5 of the classrooms and take all the support that we have and infuse it in there so that we can truly meet the needs of kids. It worked. It was a phenomenal year. Major things, and it certainly changes what happens in the school when you look for creative strategies when the most obvious things just don't work. Well, the last part of this story is what happened in 2008. And we were at a staff meeting that I'll never forget. And I asked if anybody knew anything about STEM, and it's not a part of a flower. And no one but Becky Woodcox, and I think Becky said, you probably don't remember this, Becky says, I think I read something about that, but I don't really know what that is. So we started talking about what that might be. We discussed, is that a possible fit for Shepardson? Well, it wasn't long before we talked about what we could do to integrate that whole process of into our design with signs in an integrated model, because we preferred integration rather than this is the map and this is this and this is that. We wanted kids to see the relationship in the learning process. So in that process, and at that staff meeting, things I'll never forget, the GT teacher said, you know what, it would work because then we can easily extend their learning and we can expand their curiosity now to whole new levels. And then the ELL, English language teacher, she said, you know, it would really be perfect for my kids because they will learn language in a real way. Now those are actually events and those are actually tokens and devices that will make sense to them when they actually work with it. And then the special ed teacher spoke. Perfect, she says, because then we can adapt the curriculum to meet the IEP goals, and they will feel that they are definitely being included in this process, and they will learn more as a result. And then it fit our integrated learning desires to make that happen at the same time. All those things just popped up in that first staff meeting. I love this staff, working with teachers who are out there for kids and doing whatever needs to be done to make it happen was truly a gift for me. I remember Mrs. Brown stopping by one day after she had just done a lesson. And she stopped and she says, Mrs. Summers, you can stop paying me now. She says, I've had so much fun teaching a STEM lesson, and the kids were so engaged in the learning process. I will never need to be paid again. Well, obviously that wasn't going to happen, but it spoke to the passion that goes among the teachers and their commitment to making the right things happen for kids. And when you've got the right staff and the right kids, and you've got the kids, you've got the right staff, you've got the right community, you've got the right support, and you've got people who are willing to stretch themselves and do things they've never done before. Amazing things happen. So with that, I couldn't be more proud, and I'm so happy. Alyssa would say, happy birthday, Shepardson.
We just finished our first day in this building, October 15th, 1978, yes. So just real briefly, Shepardson had an inglorious start, I suppose, in a way. This building was planned for this area. Some of the houses around here were being built. Some of you may, be able to date your house from the late 70s, early 80s, but not much was in this area. There was nothing to the south and nothing to the east, really. Again, lots of farmland and open space. The school went up, and Farrell was chosen in the spring to be the new principal, and he began interviewing teachers, and he was told that there would only be enough student population to hire 2 teachers per grade level. So he went about his business and worked on all of that, and Bill Brenner made the plans, and it was all going great, and a notorious windstorm, Fort Collins has them all the time, came up and took down one of the brick walls of this school, which delayed all the construction, and August rolled around, the building wasn't ready. We couldn't get a certificate of occupancy, and we went about our business enrolling students, and lo and behold, quite a few grade levels were oversubscribed. We had more than 2 classrooms full, so a lot of scrambling went on to find places and some additional teachers to help out. So when school started in the end of August, some of the students were in classrooms at the old Harmony School, which is now the Heritage Childhood Center. Some of the students were housed at the old Box Elder School, which had been a school, but really the district still owned it, but they had not planned to use it as classroom space for many years. So there was a little scrambling going on there. And someone made a contact with Trinity Lutheran Church on Stewart Street, and they graciously allowed us to use their Sunday school classrooms. We had to put everything away on Fridays and get it all out again on Monday, but that was okay. For 6 weeks, we were in those different spaces. Students were bused at that time. They were all bused to Harmony. Then they scrambled and got on other buses, and some went to Trinity and some went to Box Elder. In the afternoon, that all was done over again the opposite way. One little second grader said to me at one point, "They go right past my house every afternoon, but they won't let me off." Didn't like those extra bus rides. It made for some interesting staff meetings. Farrell made sure that we went to everybody's location at one point or another so we could understand what everybody was going through. It made the itinerant teachers and specialist teachers have to do a lot of driving. They really racked up the mileage at that point. But for 6 weeks we managed, and on a Friday we packed our stuff up in our various locations. We said goodbye to the students. We moved everything in here, and Monday morning we were ready to greet our children. So life went on. Now, lest you think that all was hunky-dory at that point, the building wasn't quite ready. Certain parts weren't all hooked up. There was a couple of plumbing issues, but the biggest thing was this gym, which you students enjoy as just a gymnasium, but at that time was also our cafeteria space. The floor wasn't laid. So we continued to cross our fingers that the weather would be good so our PE teacher could have classes outdoors. Lunches were served in brown paper bags that the students picked up outside in the library area and carried back and ate in their classrooms, which contributed to our rodent problem. But eventually, all of that got taken care of. So I am delighted to welcome all of you, to say thank you for coming, all of you who've helped. We appreciate you so much. All of you who've traveled a ways or come back just to greet some of us, thank you so very much. Welcome to Shepardson.